Hey people, welcome back. Another repair. It's a Logik TV, model number L32HE12. Basically, the symptom of the unit is that if and when it gets switched on, it stays on. When you turn it off, you cannot turn it back on again. So what that effectively means is that the red LED light at the front will stay on regardless, and you can press the button on the remote control or on the TV. It will not switch back on again. Basically, that is it. So I've already started taking some of the screws. There's a hell of a lot of variations of screws. That's one of the reasons why you see some tapings. So I'm not sort of misplacing these screws basically. So I've got a couple of to sort of remove. So let's crack on with this. The common problem with TVs is leaky capacitors. That's one. Leaky capacitors or transistors. That's a very common fault with these TVs. And I've not so long ago actually I've fixed a Samsung TV which had bad capacitors on one line, and I still got them lying around here somewhere. There you go. There's a couple of them that I've kept so that I can reorder them and stock up because I didn't have them. There were a pair of what is it? I think it was 1,000 microfarad 16 volts and 1,000 microfarad 25 volts. So two of each that were faulty on that board. And as soon as I replaced them, voila, everything worked like magic. Well, that was quite a large TV that had to be done on site, if it makes sense. So I've had to fix the board here, take it around to the customer's property, and then sort of make an attempt. To my mind, this only has one board, but let's sort of take this off. I can't, in fact, the loop, the socket is sort of, well, I'm not going to be able to fully take it off because it just won't. So that's where we're at. We're just going to leave it. It's no big deal. What do we have here? Let's have a look. In fact, I can actually. I can. Let's sort of. It just gives me a bit of a room to play around with, basically. So let's unhook it. Brilliant. That's been taken care of. Where am I going to put it? All right, let's see if I can put it somewhere here. There's a little. Just give me one sec. Make sure I don't lose this bloody thing. Okay, there we have it. I'll put a bit of tape over that because I have a funny feeling that I'm going to lose that connector, basically. That crimps the cable in place. Right, there we go. So that should secure it for the moment. Right, let's, yeah, it looks like there's only one board. And let's have a quick visual inspection. Just hang on, just straighten this so I'm not damaging the LCD underneath. Right, so what can we see? Oh yeah, voila. Of course, you're not going to be able to see this actually, but the cap 1, 2, 3, 4, those capacitors are actually blowing. Yep, they are 100% there. Right, okay, so what would be the protocol? First thing first is for me to sort of start dismantling the board, because obviously without taking the board off, I'm not going to be able to do anything really. So the way around is to take, first thing first is to take these plates off, unless there is some screws on the sensor. There are 1 and then 2 I can see. I'll create a bit more space for myself, so I'll get this taken out. I keep these here, and so this has the power supply, the DC board, everything kind of built into one logic board basically. Let's have a look. Yeah, of course that'll come off with these. It's 2 screws. and that should come off. There we go. Okay, and I'll put them on that side, and the motherboard should lift. But let's sort of take this off, and there's some connectors here. Let's pull. Come on, stop being a fucking jerk. Right, let's get away with doing this first. There is a tiny little ribbon here, so I don't want to be damaging that. Okay, so that's come off. Let me just make a marking on that because I have a tendency of forgetting things. So red, 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 red. Yep, that's fine. That's out. That's out. That's out. Come on. Jesus Christ, man, what is it? Fucking hell. You know, when things starts trolling like this, it just gets a bit awkward, mate. I'm telling you that now. It's just absolute awkward. Something's going to snap off. I have a feeling something's going to break off. Oh man, this just has to be the case, you know. It's always something that somewhere along the line has to troll you, basically. No matter what you do, something has to troll you. See, that was just literally stuck like hell. You pull the cable too hard, and it just rips out, and that means you've just created more work for yourself. Absolute fucking bullshit. There's another flex as well which I didn't see, so I'm going to mark that with blue. So one marking. There we go. I've marked it now, so can't lose a track of this either. There we have it. And I'm on about these little. Sure, you can see what I'm on about. Right, so it's always a good idea to mark things, and there's one other final. There we have it. All right. Because I mean, obviously, the reason why I'm marking them is that you know, in case I've got to order some parts from elsewhere, then it could be on the bench for weeks, maybe days and weeks, whatever it is. So it'll be a good idea to sort of, you know, when you're coming back to it, you can very quickly resume and know exactly where things were, basically, or should have been. What I'm doing here, I'm just discharging this cap, basically, although that the unit has been switched off for quite a few weeks, actually. Ideally, but by that sort of length of time, the board should have fully discharged, basically. So that's one thing to always remember. Let's look at the opposite side of the board. Any discoloration, anything at all? No, pretty much all good, actually. I'll give this board a clean anyway, but in the meantime, let's get this off the bench. I'd probably, let me just check and see if I've what the value of these capacitors are, actually. What do we have? 470 microfarad 16 volt, 470 microfarad 16 volt. So you can just about make it. One there, one there, one there, and one there. There's also one. Oh, those two are okay. The green ones are fine. All the green ones seems to be fine. It's just those that are causing the problem, really. So yeah, all the green ones, these are 50 volt 220 microfarad, the big ones. I'd imagine these are the same as well. Can't see the value because it's on the side, but those are not in concern basically. Right, okay. These ones are going to be 5mm pitch. Okay, there is a bit of a dark discoloration on this area, but that's probably because of there's a transistor. Yes, there is a transistor there basically, so that's not to worry. So what I need is 470 microfarad 16 volt capacitors. Right, I do know that I've got a stack of them somewhere. It's the matter of finding it now basically. Trust me lads, I've got quite a massive stack of caps somewhere. This is just a box where I've been picking things off. You know, these are not, some of them are new, some of them are old. 1016 volt. Oh, it's not going to be in this box. I do know that it's not. I have a good feeling that it's not going to be in this box actually, I should say. Let's have a quick look. 1000, no. No. No, these are too big. 470, 16 volt, 470. I remember seeing those 470s in one of the boxes basically, and those were brand new caps basically. There we go, there's one here, 470, 16 volt. But I won't be using them actually. I can assure you that I won't be using them on 470 again. So I'm going to try and use another 470. So look and see what this is. This is 1000. And what is this? 220, 16. Nope. Nope. Right, let me go on. I'm going to pause the video now for now, just so that I can source these caps, because I just don't want it to be sort of in a unnecessary lengthy video basically. Right, here we go. Just as promised. That's one box. That's literally one box. I've probably got about another 5 boxes. No, another. I'm gonna say, yeah, 3, 4. Yeah, all a total of 5 boxes with various capacitors basically. And these are low value capacitors. It's massive quantity, and I do know that I've got loads of these guys here. There we have it. Is it 470? Let's have a look. Yes, they're all 470s. Okay, so I'll pick 4 out of here. Just make sure they're all 470s, because I remember sorting them at one time. They're all mixed up everywhere. So throw them in, and these are the used one, but I managed to. You definitely don't want to be using these unless it's absolutely frigging necessary, right? Where you haven't got anything, you just want to do a temporary fix. You know, with caps, you just want brand new caps. You don't want to be putting anything as second hand or used, whatever it is basically. Let's see what these values are. All right, these are 1000 microfarad. Okay, oh, sorry, 100 microfarad. What about them? The tiny ones are, yeah, 100 microfarad, 16 volt. See what we have here. 100 microfarad, 25 volt. These are 220, 16 volt. 470, 10 volt. What are these gold ones? Oh, right, okay. So the gold, I've got some 470s mixed up with, well, no, these are 10 volt, sorry. They're 10 volt, 10 volt. Right, no. Because I remember sorting them, so, okay. Right, let's put those away. Just bear with me. Let me just remove the ladder and everything. So, right, okay. Let's get on with the repair now. I've had to, because of how tight the room space is, I've had to move the ladder and some of the stuff basically. So, where do we go from here now? First thing first is I'm going to run a test on these new capacitors, basically to ensure that those are good. So let's see if you can see that clear enough out here. So power on the unit. That's an Atlas ESR plus, the ESR 70 plus, I should say. So let's so it's 455.6 microfarad at 0.18 ohm ESR. Okay, let's try the different leg. Okay, so we're pretty much within spec. Let's try another one. Yeah, that's beautifully. It's pretty much the same. Yeah, quite happy with that as well. There may be brand new capacitors, but you don't know whether if they're faulty, damaged, whatever it is. So it's always a good idea to test them before you put them on, basically. Because otherwise you've got to mess around. Alright, sorry, just pause there for a second. Just looking out through the monitor, something that caught my attention. All right, okay, so we're quite satisfied. You know, this is a great instrument for testing capacitors, and it comes with a very nice stand, which I can't thank ever so much. Well, thank any more to Peak Atlas for sort of making a gift with all the 4 instruments I have, basically. I think it was Jeremy who I dealt with. I've been around to the branch in Buxton, and cracking people. So yeah, thank you very much, Jeremy. Those stands are sort of very helpful. Otherwise, you're leaning and twisting and bending and to try and see what's going on, basically. I'm gonna, just out of interest, I've got an Lcr meter here. Just want to make a quick check on those as well. I don't know if you can see. Let's have a look. Yep, that's reading within spec, and it runs a test at let me just tell you what frequency the test gets run at, basically. That's on a DC mode on auto, and it's showing as 461.78. No, it's just thereabouts. Okay, so that's within spec. Try one more. Got the cable tangled up the wrong way around. That's what my problem is. Yep, again they're within spec. And finally, the last one. Yep, absolutely. Just one other thing. Give it. Okay, let's just see what's going on. Impedance. Okay, phase. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's just, I was just messing around with it. Yep, so there we have it, basically. Yep, I'm quite happy. It's an automatic. Let's hold it down and turn it off. With this LCI, you can measure various inductors and other things with it, basically. So to do that, to change the option, I believe you just hold on to that, and then sort of come on, click again. That's inductance, capacitance, resistance, compensate probe. Obviously, that's just if you want to sort of calibrate the unit, basically. the probe, I should say, if you know what I'm on about, basically. Right, okay. Anyway, that's something else for another day, basically. Lovely instrument, absolutely amazing. Right, okay, so first thing first is let's crack on with these and get them taken off. So I'll need my theme extractor. I will need my blade, this tip for the Met Cow. Let's take this off. All right, and I will also need, let's turn the soldering station on. Pair of gloves. Okay, and I will also need a pair of glasses. And these are for safety reasons, for solder spitting and all that, basically. I've not been lucky in the past, so you've got to be careful that you're not you're not having solder spitting on your face and eyes and all that, basically. Face, not too bad, but you don't want anything going into your eyes, basically. You know, the funny thing is, we're all good and well, but when shit falls, you know, when you have illnesses, that's when you realise, you know, how sensitive our body is, or a human body is. So that's why sleep well, stay well, and try not to stress. See if you can see what I'm doing. And apply some solder on the existing connection. Sadly, these have been bent, so the problem I may have is these will have to be lifted back up again straight so that I can pull it out. Maybe I can force it from the yeah, I'll probably have to end up doing that, actually, sort of force and pull them off, basically. Yeah. All right, so one off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one off, put one back on. I'll keep myself in that rotor, basically. So let's get a snip. I don't know why this fucking Metcal's wire is tangled, or whatever you want to say. I don't get it. Why is it doing this to me now? Fuck off you. Just go that way, yeah. Absolute fucking bollocks. That nearly caught me then. Probably landed on my thighs or something. Alright, what I'm doing is I'm just desoldering the pads, basically, so it's easier for me to see it and put that capacitor in. I'm going to give that area a bit of a clean with cotton bud and alcohol. Alright. Okay, here we go. Obviously the orientation, where you see that white marker on the area where the capacitor is going to go. So there, over here, you line that up against this, basically. So, like this. Alright. See that? Yep. Happy? Now, in terms of why they're bent a little bit, somebody done that just so that the caps don't fall back off, basically. So I've only bent it ever so slight, not too much like somebody did with the original ones that were fitted. Right, let's get cracking on with this, because it's only 4 caps. That should take not so long. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's snip off the ends. Okay. Yeah, no, not going to cause more problems. Right. Okay. So let's clean that area so I don't have to come back to it. It's factory flux or whatever you want to call it. Right. Okay. So 1 down, 3 more to go. Okay. Where's the next one? Is this one here? Okay. So let's apply a bit of flux. And probably just pause the video because again I don't want this to go unnecessarily long. So let me just sort of finish off doing what I'm doing, and once I've reassembled the unit, we'll do some testing basically. Right, okay, here we are. I've put all the caps in. I did encounter with a couple of issues basically, which I will discuss now. Basically, these two caps, they're perfectly fine, but these two caps, as I was pulling, it actually ripped away the pads from the back here basically. If I can get focus. Yep. So the pads from one side got ripped out. That's purely because when somebody fitted these capacitors, they bent the leg just so that it doesn't drop out basically from the slot, and they've soldered it in. So ideally, what I would recommend in the future is to try and line up or straighten up these, push it with your soldering iron and just try and line them up before you actually pull on them basically, because what I've just experienced, you can easily avoid that by doing so. It is a bit of a pain because when it's bent and you've got to apply loads of solder and keep a bit of a pressure and lifting and all this business, it can be a bit messy, but I'd strongly recommend you doing so. That's one of the reasons why these are raised, is I had to sort of, if you can see that they're higher up compared to, say, for example, the one here. All right, there you go. That's flat on the PCB. That only because that the pads were kind of partially missing from the back. I've had to actually reflow and make joints on these on the side here basically, and that's one of the reasons why they're slightly higher up, unfortunately. But there you have it. So try and avoid the mistake what I've made. I didn't expect that it'll pull out the pads from the other side. That was just absolutely unbelievable basically. But when you're working with equipments, PCBs and things like that, don't take anything as a likely, I should say, basically. So you are more likely to end up with more problems than what you begin with. So anyway, let's get back to the completion of the repair. First thing first is let's get the telly back on the actual. Okay, the PCB's got to go back on. Remember the orientation, I think it was this way. Yep, it was. Let's move this out of the way. Let's find the 2 screws that was holding the PCB down. Just make sure that that's fine, perfectly fine. Because on this board you got because it's one board contains everything. You got your AC and your DC. What hot means, when you see on a PCB hot and cold, what that means is this is the AC side of it, and this is the DC side of it. Basically, that's what it stands for when you see hot and cold. They could put AC, they could put DC, but sometimes they have to be awkward about it, basically. Hot and cold. Didn't break anything. Okay, let's get this in place. All right, go with this as well. Hopefully we should have a working TV, providing. Alright, I'm going to use my, just talk it up because that's the only thing that's holding this. There we go, that'll do. Right, okay. Now, I'm going to go with these things basically. So first thing first is, oh, I fucking hate this piece of shit. This is going to be funny. This is going to be funny. So that's going to be your AC in. That's into the power switch. That's fine. Okay, so you got to be careful that there's two sort of connectors here. One going into the power switch, and that's your AC in. So the one, it does say here AC in, so that will be your main power supply. When you're reconnecting these back on. Okay, so what's bothering me, in all honesty, is this piece of shit rubber piece. Basically, that's what's bothering me at the moment. So I'm going to take my gloves off because they're kind of a pain on the ass when you're trying to work. So let's see. I only use gloves when there is something that's really filthy or I'm working with flux. Right, that's nice and gently gone back in its place. So is this, but I'm not quite convinced. And please don't make my life any fucking harder, because I can actually see that this connector is not in good shape. I'm still going to take my chances and just hope the fact that it does. This is the one that I had trouble taking off. That goes in there, and then I have to somehow all right, I think we're pretty much good to go here. And finally this has to see. Okay, bravo, right. Yeah, I'm quite satisfied. Everything else seems to be okay. Just make sure, double check that I've put everything back in its place, nice and snugged. Right, okay, so now I'm going to put the back cover on, fire up the TV, but before doing so I need to put these plates back on. That'll be the bottom one actually. Yep, because of this. Okay, so let's grab this electric screwdriver. What have I done with it? Come on. Come on. Be careful, these trims have got sharp edges. Quite a, pretty nasty cut you're going to get if you're not careful. Sometimes you end up with working with these sort of things, and then this handful of paper cuts, and it's leaving you wondering what's gone on here, because I've got paper cuts, and that's because these trims have actually done done it basically. There we have it. One more screws before the back panel goes on. Absolutely brilliant. But bring out the back panel. We still got to connect this. This is the connector I was trying to safeguard. It'll just pull. It just comes off and it'll fall off, and you're in some shitload of issues then. Right, so let's point this that. Oops! Come on. Wrong way. Wrong way. Yeah, there we have it. And somehow I've got to get this underneath the actual connection here, and with some wiggling around, messing around, I should hear a click. Oh yes, brilliant. Very cheaply made TV. You know, you're not paying an arm and a leg for the TV, so these are very cheaply made TV, basically. So don't expect anything superior in terms of the build wise. You know, it's one board. Usually you'd have 2-3 boards, up to 4 boards sometimes. You know, you've got your AC, DC, and then you've got your board for the backlight and T-con and all this, you know, so and so forth. Okay, right. I'll crack on with these first. Believe me, it's a lot easier to dismantle TVs. Right, okay. I'm kind of 1 screw short for some reason. I don't know why. I certainly haven't dropped it anywhere. So we'll find out soon. If not, I wouldn't worry about it too much. With all that precaution I've taken, I've still lost a screw. This is what I call repairs as such as this is bullshit. Wondering what the hell am I doing? Hang on. This TV's been it's a it's been sat here for a little while, this TV. So okay, let's crack on with the rest of the come back to that. Probably use a long neck screwdriver to do that. Okay, let's see what we're at with this one. This one should be fine, but yeah. Probably just torque it up with this. Yeah, that's fine. I'll probably use is it on or off? Right, I think we're near to the end of the video. Yes, sadly I've lost one of the screws. Don't know what I've done with it. I'll have a quick scatter through the bench just to see if I can locate that screw somewhere, because it'd be nice to sort of put everything back how it was. But there we have it. That's the screw that's gone missing, basically. Now I'm just wondering what type of screw that is. Oops, almost broke my Mantis Elite. Can't see it on the bench. Oh, there it is. Got it, got it. You little rascal. There it is. Right, I thought so. Bring that back up again. There we have it. Absolutely awesome. Right, moment of truth. We're going to power it up, make sure that it switches on and off and whatever you want to say. So let's power it on. Wanted the TV going in smoke. Did I say here? I mean, I don't want to see it going in smoke. Right, so what we got here is so let's power on. I've got a blue light. You can see there. Now the power buttons are somewhere on this side. It's got red. That's a good sign. Where is the buttons? Somewhere underneath, I would imagine. Right, okay, let's find the, oh yeah, power button. Yep, that's promising. Blue, from red to blue, I should get some display. There we have it. Okay, and it's on HDMI 1. I don't know if you can see that. No signals. It's reading as no signal. A stupid camera won't see that, but you'll see it in this angle. There we have it. Okay, so if I flick it back off again, remember what I've said, when it turns on, but when you turn it back off, it'll never turn back on again. So let's power it off. We've got the red LED now. Yeah, I've got my slippers and my boxers on, basically. And then what we're going to do is press the button again, and that should turn into blue. And we should see some writing on display. There we have it. Absolutely awesome. So yeah, that's how I resolve the issue, basically. I'll power it off. That's it. That's all, guys. One more successful repair. I know these TVs are not expensive, but you know, we live in a disposable society, and one of my main focus on doing what I do is to sort of repair as many electronic equipment as possible without, you know, having to throw it in the trash, basically. So there we go. Another unit's been fixed, and that'll get passed on to the member of the family who owns it. Let me just tidy up my thingy. Okay, just one other thing. If you want me to test these, let me test them for you. Just a couple, and show you what the readings are on both of them instrument. So let me just see if you can see that. Steady, yeah, okay, and show you what these. In fact, I'll quickly go through them. It's not going to take a lot of time. See, it's out. The ESR, which is equivalent series resistance, is 2.2 ohms, and the capacitance is 258.2 microfarad, which should have been 470. So let's try another one. So that says straight away leaky. ESR is 4.4 ohms, which is very high, basically, for a capacitor. There is a chart that comes with this instrument that sort of gives you a guideline as to what capacitance and what the expected ESR is for that capacitor, basically. That is bad. That straight away is coming up with very high ESR. Let's try that one more time. Yep, you can see it for yourself, right? So that's bad. The last one. Yeah, again, that's bad as well. Right, I'm not going to bother with the LCR, basically. You've got a pretty much idea as to what's going on. So those caps are going to get thrown away in the bin because I've got plenty of them and I don't need to sort of keep them for... Right, so they can go in the bin straight away. Let me clear up my bench as well. Okay, I'm going to give it a good wipe eventually. Let me just sort of get rid of these. What was my greatest worry is that because the pads have come ripped off, I may have struggled to do these joints basically, but quickly realised that obviously I can lift the legs up. They don't have to sit flush, you know, completely against the PCB. There we have it. So yeah, anyway, that's all. Have a great week. Whatever. Just stay well, stay safe. Best regards to everybody that's watching. And take care. And I'll catch up with you in my next video. Bye for now. Peace.